Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another show this week. It is Tuesday, and I have a show tonight at 8 o'clock, which is now. So, welcome. Oh my God, I hate this chair. I feel like I'm so close to this screen. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this chair keeps squeaking. I hate it. Hello to my sister. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome. You are the only one here. So, I am going to start off by telling everyone about tonight's guest. But before I do that, I hope that everyone has had the chance to see yesterday's show because I technically did two people yesterday, which is the first time ever that I've been double booked before. So check out those videos. I know it's not the norm. Normally our show was only once a week, but because there's nothing else better to do than go live, right? Right. So I've opened it up to like all these other days. So it's going to be fun. Let's see, Ash, I've missed the last two shows. Yeah, well, go back on Facebook or you can watch them on YouTube. So either one. So yeah. It's not a problem if you've missed two shows. Well, okay, two shows is a problem. We have a problem because I know that you don't miss too many of the shows. So you might want to go back and watch them. So they're very good shows. All of my shows are good. So far, anyways. So I would hope. Yeah. And so for the most part, it's been authors, which we love authors. Well, I should say I love authors. So tonight is no different. So another good author, which I can't wait, by the way, because during this whole COVID-19 stuff that's been happening, I have, for some reason, turned to reading. And I haven't read in a very long time. And one of the hello, Holly. Yes, I see you. So yeah, I've been reading. It's weird, but for me, I've been reading romance novels. So a little bit different than tonight's guest, but pretty much the same premise. I've seen some of her books, and I've actually started reading some of them. So, and they are very good. Which we're going to be talking about two books, by the way. So, Hogtied and Focus, I believe, is the other one. So, so yeah, but I won't go into details of what the books I've been reading because she's pretty much an author that has done that type of writing. So I'll let her tell it. But yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but reading has become the pastime besides puzzles. And I just don't have the patience for puzzles. I really don't. So I'd rather read. That's always fun. Ariel, welcome, Ariel. I know most people are not used to me doing shows during the week, but get used to it. So, yeah, I love to read. Absolutely, reading is fun. Hello to my grandmother. My grandmother's actually watching, so that's something special in itself. I hope everyone is enjoying my background because for some reason the last two guests thought that the picture of the living room that was behind me was actually mine, which it was not. It's a green screen. So I kind of felt bad and changed the picture. Although I've never been here. As we know, this is Disneyland. So I just thought I would change it up. You guys asked for a green screen. I've never used one before. So here it is. So I don't know what pictures you guys want to see. So let me know. What else? I'm trying to think if there was anything else before I bring the guest on that I needed to let you guys know about, but you guys have seen me now. Yesterday, today, you'll see me tomorrow for comedian Rhett Sever. Nothing's happening on Thursday. Friday, we have another author. Alan Stedham will be joining us, and I'll be talking with him. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting, to say the least. So, if you have questions for tonight's guests, don't forget that most of the time the guests can see your comments when they are brought onto the stream. So, in case I miss them, it's another good thing about this whole StreamYard system they got going on here. So, make sure you ask your questions about the book. And don't worry, we'll make sure to find out where the book can be bought, which I believe is on Amazon. And we'll make sure after the show to post the link so that you can go straight to Amazon or wherever it's being sold and buy it for yourself. So, yeah. So, I think that I'm just going to get straight to it. So that way she's just not sitting there for the next 10 minutes listening to me squabble this whole time. So we'll bring her on. So we're going to talk to Holly Bargo and her two books. Romance, I'll let her talk about it. So let's bring her on. Hello.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been an enlightening few minutes. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to let you know that for some reason there's a delay between the two of us, and I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if it's the time difference or not. So so if you see me sitting here just waiting, it's because I'm waiting for your response. So, but anyways, normally I tell people 8:15 because it gives me around 50. I was so used to 15 minutes, talking to people who actually come in and watch the show, and how are you and what's going on tonight, who's going to be on, what it's all about or whatever. But then I kind of got to the point where video has kind of changed everything, because before I did radio. Mm-hmm. So I don't even wait anymore. I just bring it right on. There's no point of let's just chit chat. Actually, I think the delay is gone now. So I think we're good actually. So welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Being here.
What's that?
I appreciate you being here.
No, thank you. Yeah. I have nothing else to do, so I figured let's do a show. I wasn't exactly sure how to address you. If you go by Karen or do you go by your?
Well, in previous interviews, I've always gone by the pen name, which is Holly.
Okay.
So
I'm going to call you Holly then.
Okay.
All right. It works for me because I have a cousin Holly. So I read the email was forwarded to me, so I had the chance of actually going on there and looking. I think I got a bit overexcited for the other books, but yet we wanted to talk about the other books is what happened. So I was like, ooh, romance fantasy books sounds fantastic, because I had never read anything like that before. But like I said, I had just started reading these books, which are a little bit different from yours, but the same premise.
Yeah, it's paranormal romance and fantasy romance. Yeah, that's love it. I mean, what else to say? I enjoy reading it. I enjoy writing it. So it's just kind of.
Yeah, I was never really into anything like that, to say the least. But for some reason, it just was all over Amazon. It was the hot item for like 99 cents or whatever. And I mean, for me, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll read it. Okay, he shifts into a wolf, or he's a vampire, whatever. So it was and I can't stop reading them now. So I have quite a few. I've got quite a few of yours as well. So I'm interested about Hogtied.
Okay.
And Focus, I believe, was the other one. So,
Focus.
Right. Okay. So what exactly is Hogtied?
Hogtied, it kind of crosses subgenres. We've got the military romance because our hero is ex-military. We have the new adult romance because our heroine is a college graduate, just recent college graduate. Contemporary romance because it happens now. You know, cowboy romance because our heroine, is the, I guess, cowgirl type.
Mm-hmm.
She lives on a farm. She shows horses. So we kind of scan that. But it's mainly I just call it romance.
Right.
It's just, my characters tend to fall into the different subgenres.
Well, I noticed because reading the first part of it, I'm like, I think this is just romance. I don't see any shifting. I don't see any normal or anything. So this is good. This is totally different from the other one. So I'll read it. I don't mind. I read everything. So yeah. Why just romance? Have you done that before, or is there another? Okay.
Oh yeah. I've got over 20 books out. I would say half of them are within the paranormal or fantasy, area, and the other half are just romance.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 books in the just romance that are the mafia romance. I've got some that are more along the new adult type. It's whatever just kind of hits me. I'm not what one would consider a disciplined writer. I don't sit down and I don't map out, okay, I'm going to write this. Then I'm going to write that. And then I'm going to write the next thing and the next thing. It's more along the lines of, good idea. Let's go with it.
Well, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that.
It works for me.
So what got you writing the paranormal romance books to begin with?
Fairy tales.
Okay.
I grew up, it's like I grew up reading fairy tales, love fairy tales, absolutely adore fairy tales. And that segued when I was, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade into reading mythology. Okay. So there are like, we have fairy tales that are a little more grown up, a little more, I guess, I don't want to say adult, but I guess a little more gritty, a little grittier. Mm-hmm. And so we went from there. And then there was this big, kind of lack. And I found fantasy. Everything from Sherry S. Tepper to Mercedes Lackey to, Terry Brooks and Ted Williams. So we went into fantasy, and fantasy has a strong romantic element in many of the books, most of the authors. And that's sort of like, okay, we've got my favorite things going on. We've got, the romantic aspect, and then we've got, the whole, sword and sorcery magic going on, and let's just put it all together and have more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I did. And, probably about, I want to say 15 years ago or so, I kind of discovered the paranormal romance. And I didn't know why. I didn't know it was called paranormal. I just considered it fantasy, part of fantasy with romance. But I learned that there was an entire subgenre called paranormal with, your vampires and your shifters and various other mythological beings. And I like it. So I write it.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Like I said, it's funny that I had just started reading it and then your email came through and I'm like, yes, absolutely. Because I think it would be fun to talk to someone who writes this stuff. Now, I think the question is because I know here at home I was talking about, how you were coming on and the books you were actually, who was I talking to? I was talking to my aunt the other day about it because she normally will watch the shows or whatever. And she asked me a question and I'm like, I don't know. Are these the type, because I know the ones I read are very explicit in certain details of what's happening romantically. Does that happen in your book? Like, is there a...
book.
Okay, so
It it depends on if I don't want to be gratuitous about it. I
Mhm.
guess is what I'm trying to say. When if the story kind of naturally flows into it, oh yeah, it's going to be in there. You know, we're going to open the bedroom doors wide open and, you know, show it on screen. But if it's not natural to the characters, you know, if it doesn't fit, then I'm not going to put it in there.
Okay.
And for instance, Bear of the Midnight Sun, you know, that's got a lot of sex in it. Let's just be, you know,
Mm.
I'm blunt. It's got a lot of sex in it. But the next one after that, you know, The Eagle at Dawn doesn't, because it doesn't fit the characters. It doesn't fit the way they interact.
Okay.
You know, it's just it. I go where the story takes me, and if it includes the explicit content, then I put it in. If it doesn't, then I don't.
Okay. Makes sense. Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm not a disciplined writer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, on page 125, we're going to have a bedroom scene. It doesn't work that way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think if I was a writer, that's probably something that I would write, because I think it would be a lot of fun. And with fantasy and magic and, you know, or just romance, um, you could go anywhere with the story. You really could. So, yeah. So 20 books. Wow. Okay. So where did the idea of Hogtied actually come from? Like, how did you come up with that one?
You know, I honestly don't know where it came from. It was more along the lines of the characters just sort of popped in my head. You know, just they sort of, you know, just I do a lot of daydreaming, and once again, it's an undisciplined mind. And so, you know, the idea is, you know, the characters sort of pop, and it's like, well, how am I going to bring these two characters together? And then I came up, you know, with, okay, well, this could happen, and it, you know, and it entertained me, because they, you know, we have our heroine who happens to have a really hot temper,
Mm.
which, you know, and those who know where to look or how to look will notice where little bits and pieces of me go in there. For instance, the hot temper part. When I was a kid, my oldest brother used to call me Miss Firecracker Fuse.
Okay.
Yeah, hot temper. So she flies off the handle, you know, and goes after the biker who just shot her sister's 4-H steer. And 4-H is in there because it's a huge part of my life. It you know, I grew up in 4-H. I used to run a 4-H club. You know, my kids run 4-H. It's just a big part. And so she goes after him. And of course, you know, going after him gets her in trouble. Well, my hero happens to be a biker of a different motorcycle club. And he happens to be, I guess, at the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, or however you want to put that. So the two come together, and it doesn't really go smoothly. But then, you know, if it went smoothly, we wouldn't have a story.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I can't can't wait to finish reading that one. So yeah, it sounds fun. And then we have Focus, the other one that was mentioned. So
yeah, that was published. That just came out on April 30th.
oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's really recent.
And what is that one? I didn't get to read up on that one.
Okay, that one, I think what happened with that one is I started that a long time before I actually decided to go anywhere with it. Every so often, because, you know, I try to be open-minded, I really do. And every so often I pick up a book that has a BDSM theme. And it's like my husband trying a food he knows he doesn't like, but he keeps trying it just to say, is it any better this time? And I think I picked it up one too many times and said, I still don't like it. You know, I just don't like it. And so I decided, you know, okay, well, what happens when you don't like it? And what it starts off with is my heroine is at Christmas Eve dinner with her best friend and her best friend's husband. And the best friend and the husband are in a sort of a master-slave relationship. And the husband doesn't really get the difference between damage and dominance. So my heroine basically says, he's hurting you. You really need to leave him. She loses, she gets angry. It becomes kind of a nasty little argument there. And she grabs her coat and leaves. Well, the best friend's husband is a billionaire. So we can hit the billionaire romance subgenre too.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he his security consultant is with the little party there, and the security consultant goes after her. And their relationship develops. But that's more of it's kind of almost an enemies to lovers type of romance, because they really don't like each other much.
Mm.
She thinks he's a scumbag because, he's buddies with the best friend's husband, and, he thinks she's a snowflake.
I definitely have to read it now.
So, yeah.
So where did I'm still trying to figure out how this enters your head to write this. I've talked to people who write fantasy. I have friends that are authors that do, just strictly fantasy, with a little bit of romance in there, but nothing major. But not this whole new thing. It's new to me. I've just never come across it, and I just can't put it down. It's good.
Well, it's a good story. I've spoken with a lot of people who say, "Oh, romance. Oh, that's not real literature." And it's like, what do you mean it's not real literature? What is so awful about it? If you read Shakespeare, if you read any genre, really, anything, there's romance in there.
Mm.
It's not the main focus.
Right.
But you've got, two or more people. Yeah, sometimes there are more. Two or more people, who are developing a relationship, who fall in love and want to spend the rest of their lives with each other. That's romance. And it's in everything. It's in cop shows, it's in true crime, it's in mystery. I could show you examples from, Dick Francis, his murder mysteries, things like that. No one would accuse, Robert B. Parker of writing romance, but you've got Spencer and Susan, and that's an enduring romance that lasts through the entire series.
Mm.
So yeah, it's one of those things. It's just, whenever I come up with when I have a story, that aspect is just a part of it. It's not something I do consciously. It's not something I deliberately inject. It's always there.
Mm.
I'll get off the soapbox now.
But it's all true. Just for me, it's just, how this stuff enters and where you go with a story and how you get the story. Like, it's amazing because it's different type of writing. I mean, this could be huge. I don't even know, because I have just started reading this. So I don't know how many people actually enjoy this type of writing, but obviously if there's enough of it, and I've seen it on, Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went into Barnes and Nobles the other day looking for it, but yeah, it seems popular, and I never knew that. So yeah, it's very interesting to me. Like I said, I can't put it down. So now to add to the library is even better. So now I can add your books. I've noticed that there are other ones as well. There's something Russian, right?
Yeah. My Russian series.
Okay.
It is that's my mafia. That's my mafia based romances. 4 books. They're short books, and first 3 books deal with basically 3 college roommates.
Mm-hmm.
And they all marry into the Russian mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4th book is the cousin of one of the roommates, who happens to be the son or actually the grandson of an Italian mafia captain. And the series just kind of comes full circle with that fourth book.
So I'm assuming that because I've noticed that with the series, they're very short books. And and I've noticed that there's a lot of series to them, like book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. So I'm buying all these books, but the characters that start from book 1, they're going through the entire book. So the first book is about these two, and then the second book is about a friend of yours that you meet in the fourth book.
There's a difference between a series and a serial. Okay, with the series, the characters from the other books will kind of pop in and out, but they don't carry the story.
Right.
Okay. You have, each book in the series is complete in and of itself. If you're reading a serial and, it's a legitimate form, and you find it a lot of it in romance is, it's kind of like a soap opera where, each episode ends on a cliffhanger to be continued type of thing, where, you can't finish the story until you go to the next book and then the next book and the next book.
Right.
And that frankly drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So I like to finish the story in the book. So even though with my Russian series, each book is kind of short, they're around 40 to 50,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
Each book is a story in and of itself. Other characters pop in, but they're not integral to the story.
Right. I just hate how they're so short.
Well, that's to inspire you to read more of my work.
Well, yeah, no, and I get it, and it's very smart how they do it, because yes, I have read stories where the story was in that one. Everything from start to finish, it ended. Now it's moving on to the next one. But it was like, I'll read it and 2 hours later, I'm done. I'm like, no, what just happened? No. But then, I have to go and buy the next one. And yes, they do pop up. But I just think it's amazing writing. I really do. So, and it's interesting to say the least. So, yeah.
Well, the first book you inquired about was The Barbary Lion.
Yes.
And that is one that it's actually, it's barely novella length. It's only like 11,000 words. It's very short. Mm-hmm. But that's what kicked off the rest of that series. So the Barbary Lion, the hero's a real jerk. He's awful. And the heroine is, she's no pushover. That's another one of those things that I have issues with in a lot of these stories, that when I write, I kind of subconsciously or maybe actively, I'm not sure which yet, but I rebel against that. It's like, okay, she's supposed to have a mind and a spine, right? Well, in The Barbary Lion, my heroine definitely has both. And like I said, the hero's a jerk. But he has a quick evolution because it's a short book. So he's got a quick evolution, and at the end of the book, it comes down to a negotiation. We have a character whose main trait is that when he gives his word, he keeps it, regardless. If he says something, you can take it to the bank. And at the end, he's negotiating with her, and she's getting concessions out of him because she knows he'll keep them. Get away. So, that's just one of 6, by the way. There are 6 more of those in this house.
Wow. Kitties.
So, he likes to supervise. Anyway, so then there's, the second book then takes off with a character who was introduced in The Barbary Lion, and that's Dimitri. Mm-hmm. Dimitri is actually the hunter who runs down the heroine in the first book. So Barbary Lion kicks his butt. Dimitri heals and goes off on his own adventure. The third book, which I really like the third book. I think I like it the best out of the entire series. But it involves someone who's just sort of kind of casually mentioned, "Will you stop that?" Who just kind of casually mentioned in the second book, and he kind of comes up to play, and his involvement is that the way that one starts. My publicist was laughing. She thought it was funny, and I kind of thought, oh, I think it's funny too. But it kind of get the whole thing started because it was really unusual. It was just one of those things that you don't see this. Normally it's like, oh, they meet, she's not looking where she's going, she crashes into him, whatever. But this one just went right off the rails, and it was entertaining. And then I took it further. And with the the fourth one, which is The Eagle at Dawn, that one kind of pulled back a little bit. It's not so explicit because the characters didn't need it to be. And it was more along, some other lines, more along the lines of, I guess, respect, and honoring someone's wishes in a way. And when, I guess, when being in charge goes a little too far, and the ramifications of that. There are running themes within my books. Respect is one of them. Redemption is another. Everyone deserves second chances. No one gets it right the first time. We really don't. Especially me, So, redemption is a big one. And then I like to see my characters grow. I like to see them evolve. I like to see them, learn and change a little bit, because when you get into these relationships, because especially with, the Shifter series, these are immortals we're talking about. They're not going to be together for 40, 50 years. They're going to be together for, thousands. So they have to learn to adapt and adjust and compromise and live with one another. And that's where it all comes in. And I just, these are things that, I don't necessarily concentrate. We're going to have redemption scene number 1 here. It doesn't happen that way. It evolves. Have you ever heard the difference between plotters and pantsers?
No, I have not.
Okay. I'll blather on some more.
Okay.
Teach you. All right. Fiction writers tend to come in basically 2 general camps. There are the plotters who plot everything out. They write down, they write down, an outline. This is going to happen, then this, and this, and this, and then the writing part is filling it all in. Pantsers come up with an idea, and they have maybe a general concept of the ending. That's going to be an HEA. We're going to have the happily ever after. But how we get from the idea to the HEA is absolutely unknown. We don't know yet. And we start writing, and the characters kind of take us on the roller coaster ride. We follow the characters where they go. Most writers are plotters. And if you see any advice that, the experts say, for new writers, or, how do I write this story? How do I do this? And they will tell you, plot it out, figure out what's going to happen and plot it out. I've never done that. Not with my own. Because I am so firmly entrenched in the other camp as a pantser that plotting it out gives me hives. It's, okay. It's not how I work when I'm doing my own stories. When I'm writing someone else's stories, because I do ghostwrite, when I'm writing someone else's stories, it really helps to have that outline, because I can't read minds. I need to know what the other person wants.
Right.
Yeah. But for my own, I start with the character, and we're off with a bang, and there we go. And, hurrah, eventually we're done. When the story's done, it's done.
So on average, for books that stand alone,
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's anything more to Hogtied. So let's just say Hogtied.
Uh-huh.
From start to finish, how long till it's done? The whole, like, coming up with the characters and the story that's running through your mind.
I think that one took me about 4 months to write.
Oh, okay. Do you find it's easier when the stories are shorter?
Not necessarily.
No?
Not necessarily. Some probably the fastest story I ever wrote was The Falcon of Amenatosh. And that was, it's not a long story, but it was one that the idea just kind of exploded in my mind, grabbed me by the throat and said, "You're going to write it." I was sitting down in the living room, typing away at my laptop. My husband was in the same room watching whatever he was watching, just kind of glancing at me like, "What is going on with you?" He was like, "I've got an idea. I got to get it out." So that one was, that one just kind of poured forth. Some of them I really struggle with. It's the one I'm working now is one I'm kind of struggling with. So I've got an idea. I know where I want to go with it, but it's not speaking to me as forcefully as some of the others do.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So let's see. I see some questions. I don't know if you can see them or not, but most guests can see them. Ashley, what was your first book that you wrote?
My first book? Oh, that was dreadful. It was absolutely dreadful. And I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
The first book that is anything close to being worth reading is Rowan. And now it came out in 2015.
Okay.
So the first book I wrote that was published, all right, came out in 1995. Like I said, it was dreadful.
Oh, okay. Never heard that response before.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm pretty sure that every author has some sort of book that they're not too keen on. So, yeah. Did you always want to be a writer? Is the next question.
No.
Oh.
No. I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay. Yeah, I see a theme here because for some reason, this is surprising me because, again, that's not the answer I've heard from an author. I've heard the no before, but not a veterinarian. Just like I spoke to an actor who lives in Scotland yesterday, and I love acting, and he's been in TV shows and British comedy and all that stuff and whatever. And I asked him, that question came up. Did you always want to be an actor? And he said, no, I wanted to be an archaeologist.
That's different.
Like, what is with people's answers? So yeah, okay, that surprises me. Why a veterinarian? Obviously, because you love animals. I do
love animals. I can roll off. I've got 6 cats, 6 chickens, 1 dog, and 3 horses right now. I used to have 14 alpacas and llamas. I like animals, but I'm squeamish.
Oh, okay.
If you're a veterinarian, you cannot be squeamish. I can't handle. I mean, I don't. It's like put the shot in. You want me to put a shot, administer a shot? I can't do that. It's like I just get all squeamish. Forget about blood. That's not happening. Yeah. I'll turn green and pass out. So veterinarian was kind of out of the question.
Okay.
But I've always liked to write, and I eventually got to the point where I figured I'm just going to write. I'm going to write what I want to read.
Sure, why not?
So,
Which kind of leads us into what is your favorite book? She's asking.
my favorite book. Favorite book that I've written or favorite book overall?
Good question. It doesn't say. So let's say your favorite book that you've written, and then we'll answer the other one.
Okay, the favorite book that I've written is probably, I'm going to say The Falcon of Aminitage.
Okay.
So that's the one that it just, I don't know, it grabbed me, it grabbed my imagination, it grabbed my heart, and it just poured right out. And I consider it, a tour de force of what I can do. It was one of my, it's just, that's the one that blows me away.
Okay. And a favorite book that does not belong to you. So your favorite author.
My favorite book that I haven't written is Beauty by Robin McKinley.
Okay. Let's see. What about another one? Kind of fast with these ones. What do you like to do in your free time when you're not working on your book, or when you're not writing?
Reading. I read constantly.
Yeah.
Lately, it's been I like going out and watching my chickens. There's this weird love-hate relationship I have with chickens. I grew up with chickens. They're nasty, disgusting, horrible, vicious animals. Okay.
You have 6.
They are, they're horrible.
I've been in the chicken, so yeah, I can relate to that. Yep.
Yeah, chickens for the most part deserve to die.
It's true. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, after a warm wet winter, the flies and the mosquitoes, and the ticks out here are so awful that I decided I need to get something to control the bugs. And I don't want to drench this is my dog, by the way. I don't want to drench my pastures in pesticides. That's not good for horses.
Yep.
So what eats bugs? Chickens do.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last 3 weeks, I've acquired 6 chickens, and they're kind of fun to watch.
From afar, yes. To deal with from afar, yeah.
Yeah, I just stand at a distance and watch them a little bit, But so yeah, I've got the chickens. Yeah, and I enjoy spending time with the horses, of course. I have 3. One is an ancient 35 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, most don't live nearly that long. And I have another 2. One is 12. One is, we're gonna say 6, and those are up at the trainer. So they're being trained because I don't do that. I don't bounce. I break. And this is the puppy. The puppy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, she's a big puppy.
Yeah.
She's a Great Dane puppy. We don't do little here.
I can see that. Yeah, I have a tiny one myself. So I have a Chihuahua part Pekingese. So she's pretty much a long-haired little Chihuahua. So that's as far as I get. So
lap dog. The dog, the dog is a Great Dane, and her name is Selena.
Oh, so you can see the comments. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So to answer your question, Ashley, anybody else have any questions? So I'm obviously to let everybody know. So pretty much, I think I've seen pretty much all of your books on Amazon. I think so far. I know that Hog Tie is on there.
Mm-hmm.
Focus is on there, and then all the other ones that you talked about should be on there, as far as I know.
Yeah, the Barbary line by itself is no longer on there. That's actually, you can download that for free from my website as a PDF. However, it is bundled in with Tiger in the Snow into a duet. So
Okay.
you can get both of those in one book.
Okay. So for the books that we talked about, they're available on Amazon. So anyone can go to Amazon, and I noticed if I type in Holly Bargo, all of the books will come up.
Yep.
Or just the title of Hogtied or Focus, and then the other books will be down at the bottom that you've written. And what is your website for the other one for the download?
My website is henhousepublishing.com.
Henhousepublishing.com.
Yeah, we're back to the chickens.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering why I thought, the whole the email was the company that we were initially talking to. So, but that was you the whole.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
me.
self-publish, or
I'm sorry?
do you self-publish? Have you ever done that as well?
I do. I self-publish.
Okay.
I've had short stories and articles published by other entities, but my books are self-published.
Okay. Do you find that it's easier just to do it yourself?
I'm a control freak.
Okay.
That's basically what it gets down to. I'm a control freak, and if something's out of my control, I start to hyperventilate and have a bad temper, and it just gets ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I would want to experience that. So, but then again, I've heard that response before, where it's about control, and to fix something, it's easy just for you just to do it yourself. So, yep. So, does anybody else have any other questions at all? Is there anything new that you're working on? Are you currently working on something that we're going to be seeing hopefully soon?
I'm working on a sequel to Hogtied. It is based on the president of the motorcycle club.
Oh.
So you meet Iceberg and Hogtied, and Iceberg gets his own book.
Okay.
And if you want to categorize it, it could be called a second chance romance. So he and the heroine are acquainted with one another from, earlier times.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's what's coming on with that. It is the longest it has taken me to write a book. Oh dear. 4 years.
Really?
Yep. I was employed full time. Had 2 young children at home.
Mm-hmm.
Plus all the chores that go along with livestock, and I was just busy. So it took time. My kids are grown now. They're out of the house. Yay! I don't, the empty nest syndrome, I don't have it. It's cruel and terrible, I'm sure, but yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay.
I miss kids, but I like having time to myself now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Has anyone ever inspired you to write a book?
No, not really. I can't say that someone specifically has inspired me to write a book, unless you want to call it reverse psychology. I had a family member once tell me, basically said that no one would ever want to read the crap I wrote. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to write anyway, and I'm going to publish it. So yeah, if you want to put it that way. And as far as I think the do they write books, I'm pretty sure that refers to my kids. No. I'd be surprised if they read books.
They haven't read any of your work?
My kids? Oh no, they won't read my books.
No.
No, of course not. That would be embarrassing.
Okay. All right.
mommy writes stuff that's got sex in it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could probably see where that. Yeah. Okay. But still, they could. I don't know.
Yes, my kids were found under cabbage leaves.
Yeah. Oh boy. Let's see. Well, I don't see any other questions. I'm surprised. Come on, people. Normally there's more people, and I think it's because I normally don't do shows during the week. I only did it once. This is all new to me during the week. I'm finding it to be absolutely fun. So, yeah. Well, I can't wait for the next one to come out. I like I told, I read everything. So, I mean, I used to read my mother's romance novels, so I didn't really care. At least I was reading something. So there.
Yeah, I'm glad you're reading. It's so many kids these days. And I that they're not reading, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of, it's like, we've got this generation that's coming up, and what are they gonna what are they gonna do? It's like, you can't spend all day, or maybe you can, just focusing on this little 2-inch screen in front of your face. But yeah. Oh, another question. Does my husband read my books, and what does he think about them? My husband does not read my books. He refuses to read my books.
Okay.
Because he does not wish to have to render an opinion on my books. Actually, it's pretty smart of him.
So he's never commented on anything.
No. He just nods and smiles and backs away very, very, slowly, so as not to incur my wrath.
Smart man.
And do I write multiple books at a time? Yes. As a matter of fact, I do work on multiple manuscripts at a time. Oh, cat's back. Get back. So yeah, because I am a ghostwriter, I have worked on as many as 5 or 6 manuscripts at a time.
Besides your own, or wow. Besides your own.
Yeah, besides my own, So I'll work on, 5 or 6 client manuscripts at a time. I've done this before, and then, carve out a few hours during the week to work on mine. And sometimes when I'm working on mine, I'll have, a couple going. At any given time, I have more than 24 manuscripts started. Most of them will never see the light of day. It's one of those, I guess it's sort of the way I call my ideas. I get an idea, it sticks with me for a bit. Okay, it's good enough to get out, on screen or paper, basically. And if I can develop it, then it's a good idea. But if it just kind of peters out after a few pages, not so good, but it's out of my brain now, and I can go on to other things that are more worthy.
Okay.
How do you keep them separated? Probably psychosis. We've got a lot of multiple personalities going on up there, a lot of different conversations. It's very crowded inside my head. So, I mean, if you watch, I guess, different TV shows, you were watching, different TV shows that had running stories, running themes. For instance, people who watch, 4 or 5 different soap opera, titles, they keep them separate. It's basically the same thing. Ghostwriter, what does that mean? A ghostwriter is someone who writes for someone else. For instance, I recently finished a project, kind of a sore spot on that one, but I recently finished a project that I wrote for someone else. The client had general characters in mind and wanted a story written about those characters. I did that. So, it's like, here's my idea. Let's, and then he proved it and we went with it till the very end. I wrote kind of a mystery novel for a client who had a screenplay. And I adapted his screenplay to novel form, which is great fun, by the way. And so he had the story, but it was in script format. So it was basically dialogue. You don't get a lot of character development. You don't get background, the environment. You don't get action through that. And that's what I added. And I added some more dialogue where it seemed necessary, where it was appropriate. And, but it was his story. So it goes under his name. He paid me for it. The thing about ghostwriting is that the ghostwriter gets paid right away, and the author who goes in the byline, doesn't necessarily, especially if it's written on spec.
Right. So that's what that means. Yes.
A long about way to say it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know if I would be able to do that though.
I don't have I really don't. I don't have a problem with it. I've come across people who have some good ideas, but they don't really have, I guess, the skill to bring them to life as a story.
Right.
And that to me, it's kind of like, okay, if you're in the mood for Chinese food, but you don't really have the skill to cook Chinese food, you go somewhere where they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the cook.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic way of putting it, actually. Yeah. Is there anything that you had to just be like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been. I don't do horror.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Can't handle it. Preys on my mind. Gives me nightmares. Not going to do it.
Yeah, I don't read it either. So yeah.
So
nope.
yeah. I've come across some things where a couple of times the client I started with it just started off wrong. It was like, yeah, this is not going to work out. Our personalities were butting heads. It's not going to work out. So, it's like, thank you for the opportunity, but this is not a good match. And other times it's sort of like, it's not the kind of work I do. I don't do biographies and memoirs.
Okay.
They hold no interest for me overall, and I really don't want to do them. So if I can't bring my enthusiasm to the project, then that person's not going to get my very best effort.
Okay.
And I don't want to sell my service as a writer if I can't give it my best effort.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That completely makes sense. Have you ever had an issue where something just didn't feel right with the book? You told them, I don't think that this is a good, like a certain name or like a situation in the book, but they're like, yes, no, that's what I want. But you ultimately were just like, yeah, no, I don't agree with it, but I have to write it anyways.
Yeah, a couple of times. In one book, the two main characters are a young couple. They are romantically involved. He's 20, she's 21. Like I said, they're romantically involved, and they're kind of bantering back and forth. And I turned it just a little bit risque. just to kind of like, a couple, little innuendos in there. And the client didn't like it. He didn't want that in there. And I said, but it works. He says, I don't want it. I said, okay, I'll take it out. We'll revise it. It's his book.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have an issue with that, really.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's when I ghostwrite, it's work for hire. It's not mine, it's theirs.
Right. Yeah.
And I do the best I can. And if they want it changed, I'll make a reason for why I did it and see if I can't persuade them to my way of thinking.
Right. Yeah.
But if it doesn't work, then I'm not going to complain about it. It's just, well, that's fine. It's your book. I will revise.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Does anyone have any last questions for her? I know you're on there somewhere, so you all are watching. I can see how many people are watching. So it's quite a few people. So, but then again, it's Tuesday. It's usually quiet on Facebook and YouTube, which I'm surprised. The other thing is that I've noticed that because of COVID-19, people are doing things that they normally wouldn't do. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I've picked up writing. A family member has picked up puzzles. Are you doing anything that normally you would not do? Like binge watching something?
No, my life hasn't really changed much. It's more like I'm not doing things I used to do. I work from home, and I'm pretty much a hermit. But I got out more or less on a weekly basis with a couple friends of mine. We had lunch together about once a week, and I haven't been doing that. Now I'm getting a little stir crazy. But yeah, no, my life hasn't changed a lot as far as the things I do or don't do.
Okay.
So one of the benefits of, I guess, working alone at home.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going stir crazy. So that's why I've decided to change from radio to this whole video streaming stuff, as I call it. So yeah, it's different. I've been doing it for 6 years, the video thing, but I've never had a guest on at the same time to see me. So it's
surprise.
It's different. So, and that's what they wanted. So before I was just the voice, and then I started using Facebook Live, which people thought was hilarious because I make all sorts of faces with certain guests. And now I can't do that because so
I see that.
yeah, well, for the first 6 years I had a co-host, and so people would see me, but they would only hear her.
No.
It kind of was different. So, and then we kind of went our separate ways, and people were like, bring some guests on. We just don't want to see you. Now you got to. So this is fantastic. And I felt, well, if anyone else is doing the interviews, we're all remotely doing things. Maybe the guests would be more inclined to actually come on to video. So far, I have not gotten a no from anyone, so I'm very lucky so far.
That's great fun.
It is. It's nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
So because on the radio,
I play with half-ton beasties. It's always nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So, but I've noticed that because of the whole COVID thing, people are more focused on other things right now. So, taking a toll on everything. But the good thing is that it's the internet. They can watch it whenever they want. It never goes away. So I'm pretty sure that people, and it usually happens where the video is over with, people are still clamoring to ask questions. So if anyone has any good questions, I'm pretty sure you're going to get an email from me just so that I can write back to them. I don't like questions unanswered. If it's worth the time to actually do it, But if it's something you've already answered and I know it, I'm just going to tell them rewatch. So yeah. So if anyone else has any other questions, don't forget you can pick these books up on Amazon. So, and I implore you to do it. If you have not read something like this, and what do you say to people who have never read anything like this before? Not the romance, okay, but you also have that romance / fantasy kind of, where people are changing into animals or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I have that.
what do you tell people?
Well, first of all, when I go to book fairs, I kind of accost people in the aisleway, and I say, "What do you like to read?" And some people will say, "Well, I like mysteries." It's like, okay, well, there's an author down there who likes mysteries. If someone says, "I like westerns," I've got some westerns,
Mm-hmm.
So I'll point out, it's like, here, let me show you this. If someone says, well, I like fantasy, it's like, okay, I can set you up. And I show them what I've got. It helps if someone has an idea, at least of the genre that he likes before, I start pushing my books onto them.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like, what can I say? It's I've got fantasy, I've got romance, I've got fantasy romance, I've got paranormal romance, I've got regular romance. So, I've got like I said, westerns. And that was a whole different experiment. It's fun too. But it's what do you like to read? And if it's something in my wheelhouse, I'll try to persuade you to read it. Just give it a try. If it's not in your wheelhouse, I'm not going to bludgeon you over the head.
Right.
Say, hey, you're going to like my stuff anyway. No, because for the most part, you're an adult. You can make your own decisions. I don't need to grab you by the throat and force it down.
Absolutely. How many books have you helped with writing? How many people have you helped with writing their books? So I'm assuming ghostwriting. How much have you? Oh boy.
Not as many as I would like.
Oh.
So I'm not going to give you a hard number, but it's so we'll say that it's not as many as I would like.
Okay.
Because I for the most part I really enjoy those projects. They're I'm working on one. It's going to be a young adult fantasy for the most part. And it is tied into Indian mythology, which is an incredible learning experience. I'm learning more about, the Mahabharata and, the Upanishads and things like that I would never, delved into it on my own, but for this book, I'm learning more, and it's like, wow, this is cool stuff. So, yeah.
So this is besides Hogtie, the next book to Hogtie
yeah.
Working on? Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a ghostwriting project I'm just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So yeah, I do that. I would say my freelance career is split into two halves. I do ghostwriting and I do editing. And I've helped many more people with editing their work than I have with writing it for them, as far as books are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Ghostwriting is expensive. Editing is also expensive, just not quite as expensive.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard from friends that I've had on the show multiple times that the things that writers have to go through. It's not that you just send it off to a publisher and bye-bye, it gets published. In other ways for people who do the whole self-publishing and whatever. Yeah, you have to send it off you have to find somebody that edits and hopefully you know the person, because it can be, a little expensive. The whole ghostwriting thing, yeah, I could see how that. You're writing someone's book, so yeah, that's got to be.
Yeah. Good editing, competent editing is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Fiverr, you can go to Upwork, you can go to Guru, and a few of those other platforms, and you can say, I've got 100,000 word book, and I want someone to edit it for $10, and you will get 30 to 50 people bidding on that. And I guarantee you, it's going to be crap work. It's going to be terrible, because you get people who will not actually edit the book. What they do is they'll scan it through Grammarly or Ginger. Basically, they'll push a button on the computer, let the machine do the work, and then send it to you. So it's edited, and that's not the way editing really happens. I'm going to hop on another soapbox if you don't stop me.
No, I'm assuming that you would have to literally sit there and read it for yourself.
Yeah,
and make corrections along the way. Yeah,
exactly. What I do when the kind of editing I do, which is it's the old-fashioned, labor-intensive, exacting attention to detail type of editing, is I go through, I read every word, and I analyze every word and every punctuation mark on every line of that manuscript. This is not, punch in the spell checker and let the computer, highlight all the misspelled words. That's not what this is. This is going through, and I catch discrepancies, for instance, or inconsistencies, if you want to call them. If your main character's got blue eyes on page 25, and then on page 78 he's got green eyes, I'm going to say, which is it? No computer's going to do that for you. That requires, the human attention to detail.
Yep.
There are things like distinguishing between passive voice and active voice. I had a prospective client call me today, and we discussed this. And I said, have you heard the term pushing a rope? He hadn't. Okay, I'm going to assume from your expression, I'm thinking you probably haven't either. Yeah. All right, think of a rope. All right. Now, if you're trying to move something through a space with a rope, you can try to push the rope, which isn't going to get you very far. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to push, or you can pull them through the rope and draw it through the space, right?
Yep.
Well, for the most part, a lot of people will write in passive voice, okay? And it's like pushing your reader. It's like pushing your reader through the story. It's like pushing a rope. Okay. But if you have active voice, you draw them through the story.
Right.
So one of the things as an editor that I will do is I will work on converting much of the passive voice into active voice, so it becomes much more engaging. It'll hold the reader and draw them through. So that's what I help writers with. And I help them with the details. I help them, I do the copy editing part, which is, I will correct the spelling and the punctuation. And no, rain is not spelled with a G in this particular use. I see things, is it coarse, like of course, or coarse as in not refined? So, I make sure that the word usage is correct. As far as, is this the right word to use? There are a lot of homophones out there they trip up a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's my job to know the difference.
That is true. Wow. I learn a lot when it comes to authors, and I think that's the reason why I have them on the show. So they are just full of knowledge. So
I have to pontificate at any time.
And each and every one is different too, which makes it even more better. So which makes it better.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right. So I can't wait for. I'm going to have to start reading Hog Time, and of course the other ones. I know the basis of your other books. I hope that people will go on to YouTube, Amazon, and pick up the other books and read them. You really do need to read them. Give it a chance if it's something that you've not written or read before. Just like me, I've never read any of that stuff. So, and now I can't.
Leave a review.
Yes. Oh, they know that. They know that because I do have another author friend, and he is adamant about that. And I always tell people, always, if you buy the book and you read the book, leave an honest review. I always ask for an honest review, whether it's good or bad, because then the author can take that information, take it however they want it. But yes, please leave a review if you buy the book from Amazon. So yeah, absolutely. It has been a complete blast talking to you and about your books.
This has been fun.
So I'm definitely going to have you on again as soon as we know when this next book comes out.
I am hoping it will be done by the end of summer.
Okay.
Fingers crossed and all that.
All right. So we'll make sure to connect back up. Yeah, because I can't wait.
That would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that is it. So if you had any other questions, people watching, you can, of course, rewatch this and post your questions. Like I said, if they're important enough, I'll make sure she gets them. So.
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer. Yeah,
absolutely. Is there any other way besides your website, which is
Henhouse Publishing.
henhousepublishing.com.
Right.
Okay. Is there any other way that someone can get in touch with you or follow your books, or is there an Instagram? Is there a Twitter? Do you do any?
I do have a Twitter account. It's Holly Bargo Books.
Okay.
All right. So you can do that. If you go on LinkedIn under Karen Smith, the real name. So there's that. And I'm on Pinterest. And that's it. There's a Henhouse. Yeah, it's Henhouse Publishing on Pinterest. I don't know what the address is offhand. I never use Pinterest. My publicist set it up. So if something comes through Pinterest, I'll have to rely on her to, send me the word. And if you want to send me an email, there's a contact page on my website, and the emails will come straight to me.
Okay. I've noticed.
You can, send any questions or comments or whatever, happy to chat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any Facebook pages or anything like that?
I have a Facebook page. Henhouse Publishing is on Facebook.
Perfect. Okay. So I will make sure to post all of that, tag wherever I can. And I will post the books so that people can take a look and see what other goodies you have that they can start reading. So, I encourage everyone to read. So, again, thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, we will have to have you, or I will have to, I'm so used to this we. I will have to have you back on. So, what's that?
I said it's the royal we.
Yeah. So, All right. Well, if that is it, that's pretty much the end of the show. So I will see everyone tomorrow at the same time at 8:00 for another out of the norm. What's that?
It's getting dark here.
We have gone. I have gone completely over. I think that's been happening lately with all the guests because I've been finding them so interesting, and a lot of them have a lot to say, which is not ever a bad thing. Because it fills the time and the space, and along with people asking questions. So, this is probably not a normal interview for most people. I heard that last night from a different guy. He goes, "This is such comfortable and relaxed. Like I didn't even know this was an interview."
Yeah, so, it feels like a conversation.
Yes,
that's what it should be.
Absolutely, and that's what works, and that's what makes people come back, and I love that. So, all right. That is it, and I have nothing more to say. So
it's been a delight. Really, it has. I've really enjoyed this. So thank you very much.
Oh no, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on. So, like I said, we'll get you back on. We'll talk
Okay.
about the next one, and then the next one after that. I'm hoping, and so that's it. All right, thank you everyone for coming on and watching, and don't forget you can watch the replay and go to Amazon. I'll make sure to post those right about now. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Wonderful to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.